any questions? I know that we haven't, number one, we were kind of doing foraging adventures. So I know that this class hasn't happened at its normal time in a while. So we are a little bit, it's been a while since we've done this. So is there any catching up or review that anybody wanted to go over before we start the spread?
No, you know what? I think I'm just happy to actually be in class.
Oh, me too. I'm happy that you're here.
It has been a while. I think the last one. I think we were looking at the symbols on the cards. I think that was the last class that we did, or the last class I did. Yeah.
And we also did some review, so that way you and I were a little bit prepared.
Yeah, we did. That's right.
I remember that class. Yeah, where we did the review for the test.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So how do I want to draw this out? We're going to do this. Okay. So we're just going to start, and I'm going to explain each card as I put it down. So this spread is going to be a spread. It's actually really not one of my favorites, just because to me, it's very, very difficult for somebody who is giving public readings, somebody who's giving people readings who have never really experienced readings before. This can be kind of a complicated spread, but for some people, it actually really helps them to interpret and understand the reading better. It helps them to understand the question. So it is a good one to have in your inventory of spreads that you know. But I tend to use the 7-card spread that I taught you guys, the 7-card L spread, a lot more than I use the Celtic Cross. But this one is very famous and very popular. So, okay. So this is card number 1. So card number 1 is going to establish where you are right now when it comes to your question. The Celtic Cross spread is really not meant for somebody who just wants, you know, when people will come and they'll be like, I just want a general reading. I just want to see what the cards have to tell me. I just want to experience a tarot card reading for the first time. This is not for them. This is somebody who really has a question they need answered. They're going through something in life, and it can be something happy in life too. It doesn't mean like they're going through something bad, but they really need answers to something specific, or even like a specific general topic. That can be fine too. So something like, what is work going to look like for me for the next 5 years? Perfectly fine. Or even something more specific, you know, I'm moving and I need to know if we are
like kill my solicitor. Yeah.
So it can be very specific or slightly more general, but there should be a topic, an idea, a question that they have in mind. This is not very good for just a general reading. So with regards to their question, this is where they are right now. This will be the first card you lay, and you lay it in the center of the table. And this is number 1. Number 2. Number 2 goes right on top of it, making a little cross. And so number 2 is the potential challenges that you are going to face pertaining to your question. So number 2 is there are more cards that are going to establish the challenges and hills they have to climb and things they have to get through. So this one is just the potential challenges that could arise. In a sense, these do follow numerology very well, which is another reason why It always has slightly confused me why this spread is even called the Celtic Cross spread. I understand there's a little cross in the middle of it. That kind of looks like a Celtic cross. Cool. But it follows numerology really well because the 2, as you guys know, is potential paths and decisions that you have to make and things like that. And in this, it is potential paths, potential decisions that you could make that will cause challenges pertaining to your question. And everything about this spread is very Middle Eastern, including the history and where it came from and all those things. It's not Celtic at all. It just looks like a Celtic cross. So anyway, so number 3, you are going to make down here. There are many variants of the Celtic cross as well. So just because, so this is the very, very basic Celtic cross. This is the original, the traditional Celtic cross that I'm teaching you. If you go get a tarot card reading or you know, watch somebody else's tarot card video and they don't do the Celtic cross spread like this, there's like 400 variants of the Celtic cross spread. It has become extremely popular, especially in Europe and America. And it is like Witch Talk has done like 7 million different variants of this. Everybody loves this spread. So since everybody loves this spread, everybody adds their own little tweaks to it, and it has blown up, and there are a million different ways to do this one. But this is the traditional way that has been done for hundreds of years, is this spread. So number 3 goes right underneath, and it is what you should focus on. So because 2 is going to show you all the potential challenges that could arise, 3 is kind of grounding you and showing you what you should focus on, what challenges you should focus on, what good things you should focus on, all the things that you should kind of hone in on, even in the face of all of potential outcomes, the potential challenges, all of the chaos and the things that could happen and all the things that are going on. This is what grounds you and what shows you what really needs your attention. Where's my mouse? This is where number 4 goes. And number 4 is your past. So this card is going to explain the things that you have gone through in your past that have led you to where you are in your question. So number 4 is not a general past card, kind of like the 3-card spread. Number 4 is the things that you have faced in the past that are leading you up to where you are now pertaining to your question. Okay. So then you have card number 5. And card number 5, I'm going to make slightly smaller because I'm running just like a bar at the top of my whiteboard. It gives me all these options to color and paint my picture. So I don't have as much space on top. So that's 5. And 5 is going to demonstrate all of the strengths that you have that are going to help you obtain the goal of your question, or that are going to help you through the challenges that 2 presented to you, or that are going to help you to focus on your 3. So 5 kind of brings everything together as well. So 5 is going to help to explain 2. It's going to help to explain the strengths that'll help you get through number 2. It is also going to help you explain number 3, because these are your strengths that will help you to hone in on the things that you should focus on. And they also tie into 4 as well, because 4 is going to explain the past that helped you to acquire the strengths within number 5. Does everything make sense so far? Is that making sense?
You too.
Okay. So then you have your 6, which goes right here. And you can kind of see the entire thing creates a Celtic cross. So like all in itself. So this is going to be your near future. And what is going to happen in your near future pertaining to your question? And then once again, we follow numerology very, very well. And if you could guess, what do you think 7 would mean if we follow Arabic numerology super, super well? What would 7 mean? Yeah.
Start of your next. Your future, what's coming next?
In a sense, it is the suggested path you should take. So yeah, because 7 represents a path within Arabic numerology. 7 here is the suggested path towards accomplishing, whether or not your question was a goal or your question was about how something is going to happen, how something is going to go down, what your future entails. 7 is the path that you should take for the outcome that'll please you the most. It is the path that the cards, the universe, the energy is suggesting to you. And then you have 8, which goes right above 7, which I'm going to have to like, I might have made these a little too, I'm going to make it 10. So then you have 8. And 8 is what you really need to know once you're on this path. So remember, these cards all go a little bit chronologically. You are going to have 7 is the suggested path that you should take. And then 8 is what you need to know before starting that path. Before starting down that path, or even while you're on that path. 8 is what you really need to know before starting that journey and while you're on that journey. 9, people find this funny, but it really makes sense when you think about it. 9 is your hopes and your fears, which some people are like, how are hopes and fears the same? How can they all be described in one card? And it's like, if you really think about it, your fears, in a sense, are all the things that you hope don't happen. So your hopes are your fears, but the opposite. So anything that you're scared of, your hopes are that that won't happen. So number 9 is all the hopes and fears that you have about this, but they all mesh together because obviously it's just one card. So this one card is going to explain what you're scared of, and therefore that is going to then explain what you do want to happen, because what you do want to happen is the opposite of those fears. And then 10 is the last card, and 10 goes right here, and that is the future. This is the potential future though. So 10 is the future if you follow 7 and you follow 3 and you embrace 5 and 6 happens, then you are on the trajectory for 10 to happen. So it's all very chronological. If X, Y, and Z happen, then this will be your future. Okay, so based on what I just said, I have a little assignment for you. So I would love if you both got in the chat. And now that I've explained it to you, I want you to write a little cheat sheet in the chat. And inside the chat, give 2 words for each number. It can be like 3 words, but just like a very quick cheat sheet for each number in your own words.
Okay, and real quick, what was the definition for the first card?
So the definition of the first card is where you are right now when it comes to your question. So what point are you at in this very moment?
Thank you.
Of course. And while you're making your cheat sheets, you know, of course, I always have to pee, so I will be back. But yes.
Right.
Great job so far. I love it. Yes. I love what do I want for 9. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I love that. Awesome. Yes. Fantastic. So we're going to give each other readings.
Yay.
And if you push the little I don't know, maximizer button or whatever, you can make your cheat sheet that both of you just made for yourselves in your own words. You can make it super big, and so that you can use that. And you can go back and forth between. I'm obviously going to leave the whiteboard up. And you two, you are very experienced in this, so you know how we do the readings, and you guys can choose and decide who starts. As long as, I mean, I was kind of figuring, but I figure both of you are totally comfortable with giving readings. So as long as that's okay.
Need to practice.
Yes.
I haven't touched my cards since July, so I'm out of practice too.
That is fine.
I
That's
know.
why
Sarah, I'll give you.
What was that, Laura?
Give you the choice. You choose what you'd like to do first.
Do you want to read first?
May as well. I'm really rusty, but I'll go for it.
This will be an adventure. We're both very rusty.
Yes. And feel free to ask any questions about any of the cards if you run into anything. I know that with the Celtic Cross spread especially, it can be difficult to, like, you know, you might get a 5 for your strength. And you're like, well, somehow chaos seems to be your strength. And so you kind of have to figure out how chaos could be somebody's strength. Oh, something else. The 2. The question I figured is going to come up. The 2 is sideways. So you read it like it is a core card. So it is both right side up and upside down. So that's why the 2 can tell you so much about your potential challenges, is because the 2 is read as if, so let's say you got the 6 of Pentacles as your 2 for the potential challenges that you can go through. You are going to read that as if the challenges are both the right side up 6 and the upside down 6, meaning so the challenges with the 6 of Pentacles right side up would be trying to organize things with multiple people, trying to come together with multiple people and figure out finances, figure out school, figure out material things, being able to figure out a house and a living situation with multiple people, and then upside down dealing with the challenges that come from trying to collaborate with multiple people and trying to create success with multiple people, trying to establish accomplishment with multiple people, trying to go through a process like graduation or college. And those are going to be the challenges that you face are both right side up and upside down when it comes to that card.
Then I've got my cards whenever you're ready.
Right, Sarah, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Do you want me to just go one by one?
Sorry, my internet signal's really poor at home. If you give me the cards in what place that they're in, I'll write them down and see where we go from there.
Do you want me to type them?
No, just if you just tell me what you've got, that'd be fine.
Okay. So, first off, everything is upright. I do not have one reverse card.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the first card is Queen of Cups.
Okay.
Number 2 is Death.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Hanged Man.
Okay.
4 is Justice.
Wow, all the major.
Yeah. 5 is Wheel of the Year or Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
6 is the Hermit.
You're going to kill me off. I can't believe I'm a major card.
And I shuffled good.
Oh my word. Okay.
7 is 4 of Cups.
Yeah.
8 is 3 of Cups.
Right.
9 is 2 of Cups.
Okay.
And the 10th card is the High Priest.
Okay.
Like I shuffled.
I love your reading. This is going to be beautiful.
That's not the word that I was looking for, but
Alex is just watching the chaos unfold.
Yeah, literally. Okay. Oh my God. Right. I am really rusty now.
It's okay, Laura. Take your time because I'm going to be doing the same.
Okay.
Actually, what I'm going to be doing is in preparation for my exam, I already told Alex, I went and wrote each card down, reversed, up and upright, and my interpretation of the symbolism on the card.
Which is amazing. I am so proud of you.
Oh my word. Awesome. Right. Okay.
You need me as your secretary.
Actually, I mean, you know, I might take you up on that.
Right, so first card is your Queen of Cups, which is signifying where you are now. So you're coming across. I'm looking at you. This is someone who understands exactly how they feel, you know, in touch with their own emotions. And one of the things I'm looking at is just how many cups have come up. So as of a 10-card spread, you've picked up 4 of them. So emotionally, this is it's coming across to me as someone who is in tune with how they are feeling. I'm looking at the Scorpio links to it there too. So it's which all ties into someone who really has a good handle and understands their own emotions. Someone who would wear the heart on the sleeve. It's, you know, really good intuition, kind of listening to your inner feelings. You know, it's someone who's intuitive. And I feel really quite creative with it as well. It feels like a really good card to have right in the center of the reading. Your death card is your second one. So this is what's going across you. So these are your potential challenges on whatever your question may have actually been. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back to notes because it is so long since I've touched my book at all.
That's okay. You're doing great.
Right. Find where my cards are now. Sorry, I've got notepads everywhere, you see, with different things written down. Okay. So what's interesting is you've got obviously the Queen of Cups, which I've put down as you being right in the centre of it. And what I was looking at is that it's interesting that you've got death going right across it. So death, again, I'm looking at the Scorpio link that you've got there and the idea of transformation. So I feel like whatever's going on with you at the moment, you've got massive change going on within your life. So thinking of the notes and different things that I've made, so it's the idea of massive transformation that's going on. It's interesting. It's talking about how you feel about the transformation and how well prepared you are for it. And I'm linking back to Sarah to what you've told me in the past in terms of what your ambitions were personally about what you're wanting to do. So I'm kind of thinking about what you've been going through personally and the changes and the battle that you've had to be able to do it. So that death card going across you on that actually does feel, it feels really, I don't feel freaked out by it, it actually makes me feel quite positive, because it feels like it's a positive transformation, not something that's going to be easy. I'm looking at card 3 where you've got the Hanged Man, which is all about where you need to focus, but it's also coming up with your challenges. And the Hanged Man is always one of the cards that always freaks me out when it comes out. Trying to find where I put it down. Again, so I was looking at, you've got Aquarius and Pisces, which tie into it. So it's, again, this is still a card that's connected with your emotions. And in terms of, it does tie directly in. So I'm thinking about your Hanged Man and thinking about what you told me. I suppose in a past situation, if I'm looking at that card 3, so this was interesting to look at the past card and see how this links into it. If this is about telling you about where you need to focus upon, and the work that you've had to put into a situation to become unstuck, kind of feel like the Hanged Man. So I'm looking at card 3 and card 4. I feel like I'm jumping about with this. So the Hanged Man is telling me, with the situation that you've been through, and I know you're saying in the group how hard it is that you actually found it. And I suppose when you've first initially came out of that situation, it's always been, have I got the personal strength to be able to deal with this? Can I actually do it? And looking at what I've written down, it's saying here that you've already gone through it. So the way, that emotional journey that you've been on, I know that you've had the breakup and the different things that you were trying to do. I'm just looking at that Justice card there, because that's the next one, isn't it? This might help me try and make more sense out of it. Card 4 was the past. Sorry, I know I'm jumping about. I'm just thinking about what you said before.
You're doing great.
I need to link it in with the Hanged Man in order to be able to sort it. Yeah, because I'm laughing now because there's notes here that I've made in the past where Alex has said in the past, check the cards that I needed. So the fact that the Justice card is sat right next to the Hanged Man. Yeah, it does make sense now. In the past, so when we've written down card 4 was the past, and it was all about your potential question and what you were thinking about. And one of the things I've written down in different notes that I've made before, obviously it's highly personal, but one of the things I've written down is that past relationship, if it's tying into this, where you're feeling massively disrespected. Was it a situation that you actually felt in control of? The fact that I kind of feel like a situation that you were in felt massively unfair on you. And I'm looking at that Hanged Man and then that Death card, and it actually does feel that if whatever crap that you've actually been through, I feel like this is the positive side of it that you're actually now coming out of. It feels like something that's been going on, has been going on quite a long time. Card 5. So card 5 are your strengths and what you're bringing to it, and how this is going to help you move forward. And I'm loving the fact that you've got the Wheel of Fortune there. Because the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune's a gorgeous one. And I've actually written down, I'm laughing at my own notes from months ago. So I've put down in my book like the Magic 8 Ball. That's what I've written down. Yeah, and the fact that I've also written down, which one of us have said clearly at some point, the quote of "shit happens," but the idea, that's what I've actually written down in my notes. But when I'm looking at it, it's looking at things that you've got that's going to help you go through it. And this smacks to me of such a positive attitude that despite everything that's been thrown at you, you're still able to kind of work your way through it. And it won't have been, that's not been a straightforward situation with all your personal stuff, with the moves, literally going from one side of the country to the next. This is, it actually smacks of being positive. Time continues to go on and you're still able to kind of plow on. Not always been easy, and things that have happened which you might have felt at the time, why is this actually going on? I can't actually find a reason for this. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm looking at the other cards that you've got around it, which just feel really positive. Right, so card 6, this is one I don't like to look at. This is the Hermit. This is the near future. These are the ones that I find hard to interpret. So you've got, so this is connected. This is your near future. Let me have a look. So I think with everything that's been coming up, if it's your near future, it's saying here, if I'm looking at it properly, there are going to be times when you need almost like a time out on your own to be able to process and to be able to think about what's going on. And actually, it's talking about here, it's sometimes that you might even need a bit of alone time, where it's giving you time to process and give time to think about what's to come. It's suggesting here a period where you're still looking for answers. And there might even be some kind of, if I'm looking at this and looking at the cards that you've got around, it's like kind of some like inner work. If you've had all the personal stuff that's been going on, and you've had goals that you've had about wanting to go forward and things that you've been wanting to achieve. I think sometimes when you've got so much personal stuff going on, it's like almost like you need to it's almost like giving yourself your own personal time out, where you need to be able to kind of take stock and really think about like what is coming up. What have I had to do? Where am I now? And what needs to come in? It's talking about a need for solitude. It's a time to think. And I suppose when you've got personal situations that are going on, lots of people offer advice, I suppose, like what I'm doing now, and it can be hard when you've got lots of advice coming from different places, and there are times when the only voice that you need to listen to is your own voice in your own head. It can be hard when everyone offers different perspectives on it. So card 7, so these are your future cards. And I'm laughing at the fact that you've got all your cards. Alex, do you know the fact that she's got the 4 and then the 3 and then the 2, and the fact that these cards are in sequence? Well, I know it's a reverse sequence. What would your take on that be?
So definitely that it feels like she is going back to the beginning, like she is starting over again, that she's in a place where she didn't really feel like she ever would be, that starting over in her life was not really where she figured that she would be at this time in her life, but that it does kind of feel like she's gone backwards, and that now she has to start from a place that she was at a very long time ago, and that she wasn't expecting to feel like her life was going backwards and like she was going to be forced to relive and restart a lot of these things that she feels like she's already put so much effort into.
Okay. Right.
That is dead on.
Thank you.
It's almost like you know how to read.
That helps. I've never seen that before, where the cards have came out like that in that sequence. So card 7 is the suggested path to your question and the best way to get there. And I do actually, it makes me feel better after seeing the Hanged Man and then the Hermit card in that little section there, that you've got the 4 of Cups, because the 4 of Cups for your future is suggesting stability, which, if you've had that period of introspection and you've had that time to think, where you've needed that time to yourself, that feels, I think, after if you've had if you have that time where you've needed that time to yourself, a stability card, I think, would be a blessing, because it would give you that time where actually you've kind of got through all of that crap now, and actually emotionally I actually feel quite on a level. It's still suggesting that it makes me feel that you would actually feel calm, and it could lead to you feeling contented and being at peace. Card 8 is what it is that you really need to know. So you had the 3 of Cups at that point, which actually feels quite sweet, because that's talking about things that are actually beginning to come together. It feels, when writing down 11 accomplishments, which it will be, a symbol for you of emotional success, strong friendships around you. It actually feels, it's one of the things I'm reading here, it's the end of an exhausting period in your life, and it's suggesting that you've got success coming toward you. Hopes and fears, which is card 9. So what it is that you're scared of and what it is that you want to happen. Well, we all know what the Two of Cups is, and it's an interesting one that it's coming there into the future card, because your Two of Cups is all about you, the idea of, you know, falling in love all over again. And I suppose your fear with that be that it would be with the wrong person. And it's, I suppose, looking at what you want to happen. No, the Two of Cups is a lovely card to be able to get, because it's that, it could be the fall, it could be a real creative or fertile period in your life, and it's something that it's, you can see the fear with it that it might be with the wrong person, but it feels like a really lovely card to have there in card number 9. So card 10, right, need to look at the other ones now. So this is your High Priest. This is another one I'm always a bit unsure about. Right, where am I? Right, High Priest. I've got a different. High Priest is also the Emperor, isn't it, Alex?
High Priest, yes.
Got it.
Right.
Also... Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be the Hierophant.
Right.
Oh, that's true. It depends on people's decks. Sometimes they leave out the Hierophant out of decks, and then it would be transferred to the Emperor. If you have the Hierophant in your deck, it is the Hierophant.
Right, I've got it then. Okay.
Okay.
So reading this, let me have a little look. So card 10 is your future card. And it's talking about, what have I written down for this?
This one is good luck.
I know. Well, it's interesting because it's, I thought it'd be tied into the Cups cards, and you need to read what I've written down. So we need to follow card 7 and card 3.
I have in my notes that it's the most emotional card, and I'm like, awesome.
Yes.
I'm linking it, I suppose. I'm looking what I've written down, and I've written down that it's linked to books and it's linked to study as well. I was looking at the star sign linked to it, which is Taurus, which is all about order, which by the looks of it is going to be something that if this reading follows through, you would definitely have order in your life, because it would give, with everything that you've actually had, it feels like a really calm reading, and if it progresses on the path that it should be, then that's something that you would actually have. I've written down my notes. It's talking to me about, because I'm looking at the cup that's on the card, and that's connected to your emotional self and pain that you've been through that's actually made you actually really incredibly strong. It's talking about, obviously, it's talking to me, when I'm looking at this, it's talking to you, it's almost suggesting that you're going to have a guide who's going to be around you, who's going to be able to help you, someone who can advise you about what your next steps will be, what your actual personal quest will be. It's also talking about your own personal education. But one of the things I've written down is that it's connected, it feels quite mystical. It's connected to books, it's connected to study. I'm trying to link it back though to the other cards.
Remember that the Hierophant as well is that infinity sign is our realization of our mortality, which can be extremely existential. It is a very existential card. It is about feeling that you both realize that, number one, life is very, very immortal, that you can start over a million times, that life is nowhere near as short as you think it is, that you are, just because you have reached a stage in your life where you are 30 or whatever, a lot of us like to pretend like that means that we're in a later stage of life, but that's not true at all. That it is still extremely young and you have so much left to live, but it's also that mortality card, realizing that you don't want to make the same mistakes again. You don't want to continue the cycle of doing the same thing over again, because you realize that you don't have forever to live, and that you want the rest of your life to be filled with more spiritual awaken, like spiritual being awakened spiritually, and also self-confidence, and that you want your life to be a continuation. You don't want it to be something that turns into completing and doing the same cycle over and over and over again. You want to become more intelligent and smarter from all the mistakes that you've made. You don't want your mistakes to turn into trauma that you end up repeating over and over again. The Hierophant really shows you that, you know, you only have so long to live on this earth. You have so many lessons to learn, and you've learned this one, so don't repeat it again.
Yeah, I found that one really hard to read.
It is.
Thank you for stepping in. I felt like I was floundering there.
No, you did amazing. You're doing really, really good. The Hierophant is really hard, so I wanted to see how you would read that one, because you can go two ways with it. You can go the way of spiritual and emotional growth, immortality, mortality, or you can go a little bit more of the academic side of it, where it's very much like about learning. But from her reading with all the cups that she got, it definitely seems more like emotional growth than academic growth.
Thank you for helping me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, the Hierophant's hard.
I am so rusty. This is where it shows I've not picked up my notes for weeks. I've had to really kind of go back into that, so sorry.
Oh no, that was amazing. You did beautiful.
Laura, you did such a good job. I mean, that was a hard deck. Like, as I'm pulling them out, I'm like, this is going to be really intense. And you absolutely killed it. I am so proud of you. And everything was spot on. Like, I feel even if you didn't know the little bit of like my situation, I feel like you would have been able to pick up on that and would have been able to give me like the same amazing reading that you gave me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was.
You're welcome.
Alex.
I'm going to take a picture real quick of this, and then I'll be ready for Laura's reading.
Alex.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to ask is, I mean, it's been a while. When I've had that reading done before, some readers have picked out like a significator card. I think that's the word for it, before you actually start the reading. You know, where they pull out, like, you know, it's, you know, obviously for me, they pull out one of the queens, and so to speak. I've seen that done before, depending on, you know, the gender of the person who's being read. I was just interested that the Queen of Cups came up right in the centre of the first card for Sarah's read. Because I've seen that done before, where those types of cards have been removed from the deck, and the tarot reader puts it down before you begin. I don't know, that and it always struck me as being strange that they remove it before they start the read, and then I was interested to see that it came up right at the start of Sarah's read anyway.
It did, and usually I'm not. I definitely am a reader, because I've seen readers do that. I definitely don't. I don't do that. That's not something that I do. I don't suggest it either, because when you remove cards from the deck based on reasons like that, I really like to emphasize to people that, like, gender, the cards have no gender.
Yeah.
That they have feminine and masculine energy, and that removing those cards because, you know, Sarah is a girl, it really leaves out this aspect that she could have extremely masculine energy, and that she, you know, she may or may not be a queen. She may or may not have the energy of, like, she may not have feminine energy. Somebody like Sarah, not this Sarah, the other Sarah, her core cards that she picks whenever we do readings about like what your core personality is, she always gets kings. She always gets the masculine energy card, always. And so you definitely have to leave room for that, in my opinion. I know readers do that, but I don't agree with doing that. I think that if you are going to pick a core card like that, that it's best to just pick a random core card and let the deck tell you what kind of energy you are emitting right now. And that may be masculine energy, even if you are a female.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, when a scene with a card came up anyway, I thought it was meant to be.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
It was completely. It was absolutely meant to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the cards will do that. And I feel like sometimes readers, it's almost to me like they don't trust themselves as readers, because that's what you'll find. You'll find if you're like, you know, this person really has this energy. I really feel like I should pull this card for them so we can discuss and talk about their core card, which is what I call it. Usually the deck will just do that for you. The deck will do exactly what happened here. It'll just trust your deck. It'll do it for you.
Right. Well, I really don't believe I'm going to get all upright cards. I'd be highly surprised. I still can't believe that happened. But,
No.
That was just not what I expected to see at all. Okay. Right. I'm going to stop.
Right. I'm ready whenever you are, though.
Okay. See what we got. Right.
Which, while you're getting ready, fun fact, my name, Sarah, means princess in Hebrew.
It does. That's awesome. I did know that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
I found that out when I was like 7, and I told my family I'm not allowed to do chores because I'm royalty. It didn't go over too well.
I love that.
Oh, that's lovely. I like that. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
So, card 1 is the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Card 2 is the Two of Wands. Card 3 is the Ten of Cups reversed. Card 4 is the Ace of Pentacles. Card 5 is the Five of Pentacles reversed. Card number 6 is the High Priestess reversed. Card 7 is the Devil. Card 8 is the Emperor. Card 9 is the Six of Cups. And card 10 is the Three of Swords.
Wow.
Okay.
You guys both got really fun readings to read.
Oh, yeah. Really feeling it.
The cards are like, welcome back.
Yeah, hi. I'm going to kick your ass tonight.
You know, both Laura and I haven't touched our deck since the last class.
Yeah,
Only time I touched them was just to go and start notes. I haven't done a reading, haven't done anything. So let's hit me and Laura in the face. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, so and as always, I really don't think I'm going to do that good, but we're going to just struggle along.
You always do amazing.
Oh, All right, so where you are right now in regards to your question. You got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Well, this is not very nice because in my notes, I literally have a reverse Knight of Pentacles as an asshole, a homewrecker, a bad boss, cheating, lying spouse. I know, like, I don't know a lot about your home life or your job. I believe you're in the school system.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know, about you with the move and everything, but I don't know. With this one, I kind of really feel drawn to it being the bad boss. You just not having the best of time. Currently, wait, where you're right now. Yeah, you're kind of really not having the best of time in regards to your employer. There's a lot of tension and just struggling going on. I feel like you're dealing with being manipulated in some way. Someone's possibly hiding secrets from you. Yeah, that's literally what like I'm just feeling. So I don't know how right or wrong that would be.
Yeah, she's not to be trusted.
Oh, okay. So that's good.
Yeah,
That I mean, I'm sorry that you're happening, but I'm glad that that was like the right one.
She is not. I mean, I can't see her changing a great deal for 6 weeks. But yeah, she's not to be trusted.
Oh wow.
What she says to your face and what she says behind your back are two completely different things. And that's her general demeanour with all of the staff. So
that's really hard to work with.
yeah, she can be.
So you deal with that, and then on top of the move and the house situation, that's a lot going on.
Yeah, she would, as we say in school, she would throw you under the bus if it saved her own skin. That's how it is.
I do not like people like that.
No, she ain't the best.
Okay.
Not the best.
So your second one is your potential challenges to be faced. And you have the Two of Wands. Okay, so possibly playing off of the manipulating boss. Looks like you are going to be preparing for a change, or actually preparing for a decision to be made. And that would be the beginning of success for you. Success, happiness, possibly like more stability. The world is literally in your hands right now. You know, you're going to start this journey with passion. And let's see. Again, sorry that I may be jumping around.
No, you're doing great.
So for your third card, you know, you've been dealing with the challenge of, you know, the home with the move and everything, and you feel very dissatisfied with how this has been going, like the process that you've been on to get to your happiness, to get to your joy. You know,
No, I can. It's true because it's hard, and I don't think I realised how hard it was actually going to be. And it's been a struggle. It has been a struggle. And emotionally, I think that's why I'm not sleeping.
oh.
So it's when you were talking before about 4 hours, I get it. So I need it to be over. So I'm hoping at that 10, it's telling me it's close.
I hope so for you.
I need it. I need it to finish.
And then for your fourth card, that's the past things that have led you to this point. And you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it looks like even with, you know, all of the just negativity and bad situations that were occurring, you're on the start of a new journey, which literally translates to a new home. You know, you're the Ace of Pentacles is an Earth card. You know, it really speaks, and with Taurus especially, like it just screams home and new happiness. You're going to find a lot of joy once you get to this part in your journey. Let's see. And then we're going to move to the fifth card, which is all of the strengths that will help you focus on this. And first, it literally says in my notes, like, all of the chaos is getting to you. Like, you really just can't handle this right now. Like, you're at your breaking point. there's so many things out of your control, and you're trying to find a way to ground yourself to literally like step over these and overcome, just find that happiness and joy.
That's uncanny, because that's what I'm trying to do. I don't think I've ever used my crystals as much as what I've done at the moment. Even my daughter's she's gone really into them this summer, and I think it's just the feeling in the house at the minute. That's the only way I can describe it. It's I don't cope well with the lack of control. I don't know if it's there's lots of Leo in my job, but there's lots of Virgo there too, and I think the Virgo side is massively struggling with all of this at the moment. It's just, yeah, I'm not sleeping and all the rest of it. So that card really resonates at the moment.
And that makes so much sense too. If your home life is in shambles in any way, shape, or form, whether it's dealing with a partner, children, or the physicality of your physical house is in shambles, you're in boxes, you're trying to transition, that's going to really affect, your body. You're really going to struggle with sleep or eating properly and your happiness.
It's driving me crazy.
Okay, so now we're going to do a court card, which I struggle with a little bit. I have not really had many, but you got the High Priestess reversed, and this is your near future. Right off the bat, I really feel like this is going back to your boss. You absolutely do not see them in a good light. You don't look up to her. You don't feel like you can gain any new knowledge from her. She brings on too much emotional and mental baggage for you to see her in a good light. Let's see. Yeah,
I love that you did that. I think that's so interesting. I just want to bring that up, and I think that you are totally right on, and I love the way that you read, but it is so interesting that you did not make the High Priestess Laura. Super interesting. Go on.
I never even, honestly, like, it never even occurred to me, like, just from what little bit I do remember, and I'm reading off my notes, that was my very first intuition. Just, she's having issues with her boss in card 1.
Yep.
And this absolutely screamed to me that that's who this is for.
That's awesome. Yes, your intuition is beautiful. Yes, go on.
Thank you. Yeah. But also one more part to this one is I feel like Laura is drowning in her emotion in regards to her boss and the house situation. Devil. So do I have it up? Okay, so let's see. 7th is your suggested path to reach your goal that will bring you the most happiness.
Oh, and you got the devil. Oh, yes.
All right. Obviously, there's a lot of guilt going on. You're really struggling to move past that. I know we've already discussed it too, but like your perfectionist part of you is just screaming to get out. Like you are trying to break through all of the chaos and all of the drama BS to have it done in a way that you really feel satisfied with.
Yeah. I am the type to want it done yesterday. So 20 years worth of crap is not going to get sorted yesterday. So that's realistically, because of the backward way the UK works, this move will take place on a Friday because that's the day it happens on. So I'll have the Friday and the Saturday and then I'll have to prep for work on the Sunday. And thought of like, yeah, I get 1 day off to move. That's all I'm allowed. So yeah, the whole thought of it is just, and all of the crap that goes with it. When this is all we've worked for all year, so yeah, that's me to a T really at the minute. It's a struggle with it, and I'll get in there and yeah, drive everyone around the bend. So yeah,
It's just all consuming you right now.
I'll be my own worst enemy with this.
And I really do feel like, you know, whether or not you have recognized it, I feel like you are dealing with guilt. You know, you feel guilt over maybe having bad thoughts about your boss, or definitely you're feeling guilt that, or second guessing yourself, like if this move is the right thing. But, you know, it really will work out for you. Let's see. And along with like the guilt, you know, you've been working on setting boundaries to be respected, and it literally tears you down when other people are disrespecting you and the lines you're setting for them. Okay, that's all I got for that one.
Okay.
8. Emperor.
Oh, the Emperor.
Okay, so this one is what you need to know once you're on your path.
I feel quite happy about seeing that in the position that it's in.
Yeah. So this one I feel like is you. You know, I feel like you are wise and you are nurturing. You're very intelligent and passionate. And I feel like you can bring forth the proper change that you need in your life. I feel like you really have all the tools, and, you know, you'll be able to take care of the situation.
The Emperor. Also remember the Emperor too. The Emperor and the Empress are different in the sense that the Empress is somebody who's really amazing at very, very intelligent and very, very amazing at getting a lot of things accomplished, but very, very good at understanding other people's points of view and getting it done so that everybody feels like their needs were met. The Emperor has a way that things must be done, and you must follow the way that the Emperor needs things to be done.
Yeah.
Because there is no other way that things can be done.
That's very true. That is true.
And that's exactly what I was trying to say, but without really calling Laura out.
Yeah, but that's the actual truth of the situation, and it's kind of almost like my way or the highway. And yeah, once I'm set,
I immediately thought this was you.
Yeah, well, once I'm set and I'm on it, I'm going. It's can be quite blinkered with it, but yeah, if I've got a goal in mind, I will go for it. I think right now I don't feel like I've got to get up and go that I need to do it. Once I move with it, I'll be okay. I think it's the fact that I've actually sat here for weeks just waiting. It's the waiting driving me, and the lack of power control over the whole thing. That's what's messing with my head. That's the part that I don't deal with. Once I'm into it, I'll be fine. It's all of this hanging around, which is not helping. But I can really see that. But Alex, what you said was true. That is me, unfortunately. That is how I am.
Which is awesome. And the Emperor is an amazing card, but yes, there's definitely that my way or the highway aspect to the Emperor.
That is. That's unfortunate, but that's how I am.
But you know what? The world needs people like that.
Exactly.
like everyone can't just be passive or passive aggressive. Like we need that headstrong, take charge person. At least a couple of them sprinkled in.
Right.
All right, so hopes and fears, what you want to see happen. You have the 6 of Cups.
Oh my word.
And honestly, you just want to see everything get better. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Like, you just want to have, you know, your home life situated. You want to be done, packed, moved, settled in your new home. You want to make that new house your home. You just want all over happiness and joy and peace and stability. And future. Okay, and literally jumping right into your 10th card, your future. You have 3 of Swords, and you know your decisions have been made, and you're probably going to feel a sense of loss once all of this is said and done. You know, you'll probably feel, again, going back to one of the earlier cards, you might feel guilt or regret about the move at first, but I feel like once you're settled and you make it your home, you will feel stable and happy, and everything will have come full circle for you. And
I can see. I think for me, I suppose it's the idea of moving it and then trying to set up your home and trying to have it the way that you want it, and the fact that it will take time, and it will take time to kind of feel like home. And as you said, then all of them things that you think, because for us, this is our final move. So you need it to be right. So there are going to be teething problems and all of that. But no, I can see that. I think my problem is my 3 of Cups card. Sorry, my 3 of Swords card is horrible. So when I look at it, it makes me panic every time I see the picture on it.
oh no.
It's usually, like 3
It's really, really dark.
stabbing
Really
a heart.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, that's exactly what I've got. It's awful. So when I look at it and I go, oh, yeah. That's it. I don't want that as card number 10. But I completely agree with what you're saying. It's true.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad some of what I read actually resonated.
No, it really did, and I think there was, real key cards in there that I can, I was delighted the Ace of Pentacles came up where it did, because that makes me feel better than knowing it. I know it's coming, and the High Priestess I can really identify with in terms of it being reversed, and it's the Emperor one just makes me laugh because that's all true, all of it. Me at my worst, unfortunately.
Oh, and I had to look. This one's my 3 of Swords.
Yep.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yep. The heart being stabbed by the swords. And that really is, too, something that I feel like people always have to remember about swords. The reason that they're depicted that way is because swords, when everything is in your head, a lot of times the heart ends up symbolizing your emotions and your feelings surrounding it. And when you are so wrapped up in your head, you are so wrapped up about how everything should be, how it should go, it takes a toll on your emotions. And usually thought is kind of the hardest thing that I feel humans go through, which is why a lot of the swords cards tend to look very scary. And it is because anxiety, it is because the fact that when we are so wrapped up in how we think things should have gone and how we imagined them and all the thoughts that we had about them, reality is never going to fit. It's never going to be as bad as your anxiety, and it's never going to be as good as this beautiful image that you had in your mind. It's never going to go the way that your brain creates these pictures and images and thoughts.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was amazing, Sarah. Good job. Yay. No, that was awesome.
One day I'll get better.
No, you're amazing. I really love the intuitive reading that you gave too. I think you're getting a lot better with intuitive reading, because I could see somebody when I very first looked at that reading, my first question to Laura would have been, number one, are you married? And what's your relationship like with the males in your life? Because immediately I would have seen that knight as a male, and I would have immediately seen that knight as somebody who lives with her. And I would have been like, is there somebody who's making this whole thing a lot more difficult and like throwing their manness around? And that is like immediately where I would have gone. But your intuitiveness about it was so much better, because I feel like it was about the way that Laura's boss treats her. And so that was a great way to go with it. That was awesome.
Thank you.
No, my boss she's quite masculine, you see, in the way that, it's in our school, we are predominantly female. Our boss is very masculine in the way that she kind of operates, and is, I suppose, one of these people who has control and keeps it like that. So there's like 4 of us who are classed as senior staff who've been teaching a long time, who work with her, but she doesn't distribute that authority out. She's kind of very much do as I say, not as I do. So in a working environment, it makes it very difficult to trust her.
Yeah.
And what she says to you and what she says behind your back are 2 completely different things. And she would throw you under the bus if it saved her own skin. So what you picked up on that was absolutely spot on.
That was amazing.
And when I go back to work on Tuesday for our staff training, it'll be very much a morning of, you are to do this, you are to do the other, and you feel riled up by the end of it, because it's not an atmosphere of the staff trust and work with each other, but they don't trust her, and she doesn't trust the staff, and that's the issue that you've got. When you've got people who are really experienced, that's hard, because you know that. So it's constantly this game of, you have your game face on, and you know that the minute she walks away or the minute you walk out, there's something being said. So it makes it really hard.
That's really difficult. That's not a safe work environment for you.
It's hard, because I've watched her do it to other staff. So if you see her do it to other staff, then you know that it happens when my own back is turned, and that's how she is. So there you go. This is why I have crystals in my classroom. No, I do, and you know what? And the children, they always ask, because they always ask about it, because I have them at my desk. I find it. They're drawn to them. They are drawn to them, and I wear them and work so they see it. So I find that it helps.
No,
I love that.
Yeah, to protect your energy, and that's wonderful.
No, I do. And when we have I don't know if you call it when all the parents come into that, the parent-teacher meetings that day. Not that I'm going to, there'll be certain ones that I'm going to wear, but I think, right, I need to protect myself from whatever crap is going to come through the door today. So it's anything and grounded I'm going to use that day in school. Because you come up there and you're completely drained by the whole experience. So I make sure when I go in on days like that, I'm armed, if you get what I mean.
Definitely. And that is such a great depiction too of the night, of somebody that you would have to protect yourself from, somebody that you would have to protect your energy from. And that was such a wonderful reading, and not assuming, that, because it's explained a lot, that it's like a relationship partner, whether it is male or female, doesn't really matter. But usually the knight is seen as somebody who is in a relationship with you, lives with you, or somebody that you're dating, or somebody, like that. And to immediately interpret that as work environment, especially coming up over the 1, so I can see where you're getting that, because of the pentacles that were surrounded in her reading as well. So that was just amazing. Great job, because it would have taken me a minute to get there. So that's awesome. That is wonderful.
Was pretty good.
The Emperor coming up as Laura as well kind of reaffirmed my point that I was saying before Laura's reading, that you cannot assume that women are empresses and that men are emperors, because that's not how it goes.
And then, like you pointed out, you thought sure I would have put Laura as the high priestess.
Yeah.
When I put her boss as it, and gave Laura, or put Laura as the emperor.
Yes.
Like, that's literally just first instinct.
Which is amazing. That is so
Yeah.
intuitive and wonderful, because I could have seen the high priestess, the way that I would have read it, just immediately seeing it there would have been that kind of getting lost in your emotions, getting lost in the depression and the stress, and not being able to really ground yourself in the real world. But reading Laura as the emperor and her boss as the high priestess definitely went with the sequence of the reading so much better. And so I love what you brought to the reading. You brought a whole new perspective, and I love it. It was amazing. It was so good. Your intuitive reading skills are just amazing. I love it.
That was good.
Now, I do have a question. When you're reading, like in that situation, like you said, if you would have pulled the Knight of Pentacles, you would have actually asked if she was married, etc. Is that something that like I should try to hone in on? Is kind of asking for a little bit more information to kind of guide the rest?
It's very much up to you. Sometimes I will, if I feel like it is going to seriously help answer their question. Sometimes it depends on the person. If I can tell that they're the type of person that is trying to get a reading from me, because there are these people, actually this is most people, they are trying to get a reading from you, and they want to see how much you can read with them never telling you a thing, because they don't believe you, and they think that you're fake, and they think you're a fraud. So they want to see how much of their life you can predict without them speaking. And so they're going to get kind of offended and think that it's more of a scam if you ask questions. So I think that defaulting to the way you did it and just making inferences and making assumptions and like using your intuition is a great thing to do. I tend to rely on the fact that I'm going to blow their mind in other areas. So I ask questions sometimes. Like I gave this reading at my friend's birthday party the other day, and it was so funny. It was a 65-year-old woman that was getting a reading from me. And she got the fertilities, for like every single card represented fertility. And I was like, okay, I don't want to assume things, but at 65, usually this is not the time when you would be giving birth. So I was like, I do want to ask, you got the fertility spread. Someone in your life is pregnant, and do you mind if I ask who it is, because I am making the assumption that it's not you. And so sometimes I do that because it's so very obvious, and they're blown away by the fact that you knew that it ended up being her daughter that was pregnant, and they end up getting blown away that you just knew the daughter was pregnant, and that's amazing, and how did you do that? And so sometimes you have room to ask questions. Sometimes you shouldn't. It depends on the person you're reading. Yeah.
So again, kind of just go off my intuition and use my own judgment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the way that you did it was perfect, and you ended up being extremely right. So in this case, asking that question, do you have a male that lives with you? Do you have a male in your life? Wouldn't have actually aided in the reading at all, because it had nothing to do with a male in her life. So the way that you did it was perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was spot on.
We're both getting better. Yay.
I feel better because I like you not touched the cards in so long. I feel so rusty, especially with going over the meanings and things again. So I know I need to read. Desperately need to read. But no, that was really helpful.
You killed mine. You did amazing.
You really did. Like, your reading was awesome. Your reading was also the reason I didn't have as many comments on yours as well, is because your cards had much more of a single meaning, whereas Sarah, for you, the one Sarah had to read had a lot more the devil and the knight and things like that, which can be they can have so many different meanings, and but for you, you read them so well, and it was so clear and you depicted a story when you read, which was so beautiful. You depicted like from the beginning to the end, and exactly what she would go through in the beginning and how that would transfer into her future. So you did a really good job of reading it like it was a story, which I love.
I mean, the fact that they were all upright as well, I didn't expect that at all. I've never seen that before, ever. And then the 4, 3, and the 2, and the points, it's just uncanny. Uncanny.
That's why I took a picture of my spread, because out of all of the readings I've done for myself, I've never had something with so many different synchronicities, you know, the numbers and all uprights, and just, it was crazy. That was an intense spread.
It was. Both of you had very intense spreads. You can tell that you're going through very intense transformation periods, that both of you are in that place where things are about to change very heavily. And so it was very cool to see those spread out. I think the Celtic Cross spread as well was perfect for where you're at, because the Celtic Cross spread is definitely a spread that can be used when you're in that time of transition very, very well, because it can kind of give you a very clear layout of what you're worried about and what your strengths are and things like that when it comes to your transitional period. Because a lot of spreads don't do that.
Yeah, definitely managed to freak myself out with that tonight.
Good. So I wanted to end the class. So I feel like we're going to go over...
I do feel quite freaked out by it, but yeah, really good.
Good. One thing that I wanted to talk about, before we ended class, we're going to go a little bit over just because we started a little bit late, but is, I think because you guys are starting to get to the point where you're giving yourself a lot more readings, we're doing a lot more readings, you're starting to understand the entire deck and how to read the whole thing. And so I wanted to go over cleansing your deck. So what do you do at the moment to cleanse your deck?
Right now, I do a couple things. Like I was talking to you and Micah about, normally I do the sage because I've always done the windows open, but like you guys said, just the intention, etc.
Yeah.
So
damn it, I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. I have to pee again. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 sec. I'm so sorry.
No, but while Alex is gone, I really loved how you, like she said, you were able to tell a story with mine. And that's what I was really trying to emulate when I was reading for you. But with yours, I was literally bouncing back and forth between work life and your house. And I wasn't able to really neatly like tie it all together, but yours was seamless. You did amazing.
See, I kind of feel like I've almost cheated in the sense that I've got a bit of background to what you've been going through, and I know it's not something that's a snap thing that you can just fix and sort. It's a goal that you're working towards. So I do kind of feel that because I had that, it was easy for me to have something to kind of, to hang the narrative around. But I said that the cards coming up like that 4, 3, 2, that was a dream in terms of, because there were so many cups anyway, plus you had the Queen of Cups right at the very beginning, so I could see the emotional side of it. But I think it's when you get all those major cards like that in one sequence right at the heart of the reading and you think, oh my god, how the hell do I read that? That's where you, because I don't know the major cards as well as the minors, that's where I'm still struggling. And because I literally have not read my cards in so long, I felt that tonight. I felt rusty with it.
No, I'm the same way, and I'm glad that both of us have been away from tarot for the same amount of time.
Yeah. It makes me feel less conscious about it.
Yeah, and again, I love it when it's just you and me in the class. And of course Alex, because I don't feel as self-conscious. Like, obviously I'm still very dependent on my books and my notes.
Yeah, exactly the same.
But I don't feel as ridiculous like trying to pull out a reading, especially when I don't know your situation or anything. Like, it helps.
Yeah, it does. I completely get it. Completely get it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Good.
But no, for cleansing,
Yes.
I do sage, or I'll use incense. So I do a lot of smoke cleansing. And then my rosemary sticks. When it's a full moon, I put it out with my crystals and my moon water. That's honestly kind of all I do. It's just the smoke and the moonlight.
Perfect.
Well,
I love that. That's perfect. What do you do for cleansing, Laura?
I've got a wooden box that I keep my cards in, and the only thing I've got a clear quartz crystal inside it, and that's that. This is something that I need to do work on. That's all I've got. No one touches the cards but me. But it's a nice big rough chunk of quartz that sits with it. But that's whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing. That's all I've ever done.
No, that's perfect. Definitely having a box and a container that is specifically for that deck of cards is perfect. That's amazing. I would say if you are going to use quartz, because quartz is a great thing to use to cleanse, it totally is, but the issue is that quartz, when you use it to cleanse, it is going to take all of the energy. Quartz is a sponge. It takes the energy from the deck, and that can be perfect for tarot because tarot is not one of those divination tools like take a wand. A wand is a tool that you use, and the wand contains its own energy. So that is why you use things to make a wand, like wood, which is going to contain the energy of the tree, like stones, which are going to contain that energy, and string, which is going to contain its own energy, and all these things that you're putting together to create a wand that has its own energy. Tarot cards, the way that you read is you hand them to someone or to yourself, and you put energy into them before reading. And so it's only reading that moment and that energy that you put into it in that moment. So quartz actually works great because it's going to pull all the energy out of those cards. You're going to start with like a blank slate. The issue is that they use the same quartz crystal for too long without cleansing that quartz crystal. You're going to have a quartz crystal in there with like so much energy from the past that's sitting right next to your cards, and it's probably going to spread a lot of if that energy that it's pulled out from the cards for like so long. You're keeping it in there with like, you might have had a bad day and been giving yourself a reading. You might have put energy in there that you don't necessarily want sitting next to your cards all day. So if you're going to use quartz, I would just suggest cleansing the quartz as well. Just every once in a while.
I forgot. I also will use a selenite slab that I have.
That's a great idea. So
right,
selenite, yeah.
I'll use that.
Yes, if you have selenite, that's perfect because selenite is a cleansing crystal, and so what it does is that it takes the energy out of things, and usually it tends to leave behind a lot of what we would consider positive energy, but that's more just like, so you take your crystals and you hold them and you touch them a lot and you're with them a lot and you wear them a lot, and those are the best crystals to use for cleansing, which sounds funny, but as long as they're stones that are meant for cleansing, such as selenite, if you hold on to it all the time, you wear it all the time, and then you use it to cleanse your deck, what's going to happen is that crystal has realized that what personally to you makes you happy, what is positive energy to you, and then you are taking that, and usually your selenite crystal will then remove negative energy from things based on what you have let it know is negative to you and positive to you. And that's how it's used throughout spiritual tradition in that way. So yes, those are great crystals to use. Also, if you have something like onyx and you put it around your deck, it is going to protect it from the outside energy that you don't necessarily want. So keeping it in a box kind of does the same thing. So that's great, especially something like a wooden box, which is going to symbolize grounding. It is going to symbolize earth and kind of reuniting that deck with the energy of the universe and the energy of the earth. So a wooden box is a great idea. Something like onyx is going to do the same thing. It is going to help to ground and protect the deck from outside energy. The moon is a fantastic idea. Leaving your deck out by the full moon is not only going to cleanse, but it is also going to help, which is what we call like enchanting or blessing your deck. So you are going to, if you've ever been confused about the difference between blessing and cleansing or enchanting and cleansing, blessing and enchanting can be used interchangeably. They mean the same thing. So the difference is blessing or enchanting is putting energy in. Cleansing is taking energy out. So that is the difference. So if you are putting it out under the moon, you are putting energy in. The moon is very special. It's been used for thousands of years. It both cleanses and enchants. So a lot of times, if you don't want to do a whole bunch of things, putting it out by the moon takes care of both. Takes care of cleansing, it takes care of enchanting. You're all good. Because you are putting beautiful energy into your deck and also taking out energy that you might not want to have in there. Another great thing that you can do is actually sun energy. You want to be careful. Cards are made out of paper. Sun and paper equal sun damage sometimes. So don't leave them out in the sun for too long. But leaving them out on the windowsill in the sun, a lot of people forget that the sun has beautiful enchanting energy as well. It is not just the moon. And so if you were to take your cards, put onyx on top of them, leave them out all day and all night by the window, and then you are going to get the enchantment from the energy of the sun, which is going to be beautiful energy that has to do with action and inspiration and motivation and all of the beautiful action and fire and all of that is going to go into your deck. But the onyx is going to protect it from whatever else might be getting into your cards, because energy exists everywhere. And then the moon, leaving it out there, is going to help enchant with transformation and emotions and phases of life and intuition, which you really want. That's why the moon is used so much in tarot, because you want that intuition. You want to gain intuition from touching your deck. So leaving it out for the day and the night is a great way to enchant in a very ancient way that is going to get everything that you probably could have put into it by casting a circle and doing a spell and doing things that people typically do with tarot when they're talking about enchanting, but it has a whole bunch of steps. So you can cast a circle, cast a spell, do an enchantment spell on your deck, call in the directions, do all of that. That is something that we are definitely going to learn how to do, but a very quick and easy way to get pretty much the same thing you would have gotten out of casting a circle and doing all of that is this using the sun and the moon. Sun, moon plus onyx, just as good as casting a circle and doing a spell on your deck.
Now, since I live in the literal pits of hell, would like 1 hour of sun be okay? Because it is literally so hot and so bright here.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes. And like, for someone like Laura, who, you know, it might be cloudy for most of the day.
Well, you know what? Today wasn't bad, but yeah, British summertime is on its way out now. We are by the end. It's already becoming dark quite early. So by the time I get to the end of September, by about 5 o'clock, it will be dark. Autumn is approaching.
Really?
Yeah, we will. The running joke is we go back to school. We call it the Indian summer. You get for about 2 weeks where the kids all get stung by bees and wasps, and it's hideous. And then all of a sudden it gets really cold really quickly. So yeah, by the end of September, autumn will be well and truly.
So if it gets dark at 5 o'clock, I love this. I love, because it's so crazy, but because here in Colorado, it fucking never gets dark. But it gets dark so late. But if it gets dark at 5 in the
By the
fall,
end of September, it will be dark at 5 o'clock.
then in winter solstice, is it dark at like 3?
As soon as we leave, see, when I get up, I get up at just after 6 for work. So it's still quite light at 6. By the end of September, when I'm getting up at 6, it'll be dark. And then it's horrible because I get up in the dark, and when I come home from work, it will be dark.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's hard.
Fall.
really, yeah, from the end of September until solstice, until December time, it's dark, really. You get up in the morning and it's dark, and you come home from work and it's dark as well, which is why I think so many people in the UK have that seasonal affectiveness. Well, that's not the right word for it. That SAD disorder, where people use light boxes because there's so very little sunlight. Like I take vitamin D all year round. Now that's recommended because of where we are in the UK. And then you get to about the end of January where it just begins to start lightening up. But it does.
Wow.
I think that's why there's lots of people that time of year ends up having with depression, because there's not much sunlight at all.
Do you have one of the sun lamps?
No, I don't actually. I think the problem is that once I get home from work, it's just I think I get used to it. I think that's why I'm struggling with the whole house thing at the moment. I'm really most of the time quite resilient. I'm not really quite a resilient character. So I think this is why I've struggled so much with the whole house move. I've been so caught up in it. Normally I'm able to bounce back pretty quickly. So the dark doesn't really bother me. Or you can see how it really bothers an awful lot of people. I think it's just because of where we are in the UK and what you get used to.
Yeah, because it's definitely, here it'll be, the sun takes a minute to rise, definitely, once we've gotten into, once you get into fall. Once you get deep into fall, if you wake up at 6 o'clock, the sun will still be down. It'll rise by the time it's 6:30 or 7, but the sun stays up for a while until winter. And then in the winter time is when you'll start noticing that when you get home from work, it's dark. But definitely not until the depth of winter. And then in Colorado, we make fun of it because it snows here a lot. But we'll have a gigantic snowstorm. It'll be 3 feet of snow, and it's I'm 5 foot tall, so it's very high. There's a lot of snow, and but then the next day the sun will be so bright and it'll be so up all day long that all the snow is gone by 4.
Now, does Colorado have all the ice that Montana gets?
It does not, and that's why, is because it all melts by 4 p.m. It's all gone.
And that's how Montana was. Because we were on the border, and first off, with the sun, when I first moved there, it blew my mind. The sun would set in August at 12 o'clock midnight.
Yep.
And I'm like,
it
what the hell?
Sunny all day.
Yeah. But then once winter came, we would get 2-3 feet of snow, and it would melt rapidly. But then it would turn around and get so cold so fast and dark. Because it was around 3 o'clock during dead of winter that it gets dark, and it would immediately turn to ice.
Yeah, we don't get that here, luckily. Now, sometimes when you get into February, Colorado gets that early spring freeze, where in Colorado, because it's the only time where we get humidity, but it's a lot. It's not humidity. It's it's very, very, very light humidity, but because of that, it causes everything to be very wet, and wet plus snow plus cold equals everything turns to ice. But it's only in the springtime, in the very early spring, and then after that we still get snow. It snowed 2 feet in May. We get snow in May, and but like I said, it'll snow at noon. It'll be snowing all day, The next day, by noon, all the snow and ice is gone. You wouldn't even know it snowed.
That's just that's just mental. We get hardly anything, and then when we do, the whole of the UK just shuts down. It can't cope at all. So the whole country just grinds to a result. It's insane. It just can't. We can't cope with snow. We don't get much of it. When we do, it's lovely, but it's very, very rare. And I think because where I'm located in the UK, it's particularly rare here. So yeah, it's end of September onwards. It's just pretty cold and miserable. But you get used to it.
Yeah, the humidity.
It's fun when you're doing playground duty and you're playing stuff.
I should have known, and I felt so silly not knowing. But when I went to England, I wasn't expecting it to be so humid. And I live in Colorado, and you have to realize we have like zero humidity. Like I layer on lotion all day. Like we have no humidity here at all. It's so dry. You wake up and your lips are like crusted and dry. It's like it's dry. We all have humidifiers in our rooms. Like it is dry. It's like air. We are a desert. People forget that we are just a snowy desert, but we're a desert. And in England, it was so strange. I would like get out of the shower, and you're wet still. Yeah. Always, and your sheets are wet, and your clothes are wet, and the air is wet, and you breathe wet.
I think we just tend not to cope. I think when our summer tends to hit from about May to about August has not been great this year, but yeah, it goes from one extreme to the other. So I think when we had it in May, it was like 27, 28. So then no one can cope. Which is not particularly hot, but here it's if you're in Europe, it's different again. You can cope with it really well, but we don't tend to cope with it, and we're not equipped for it. So when you're trying to teach and your classroom's 29 degrees, and then you've got 30 11-year-olds who are going through puberty, so your room absolutely stinks, and there's no air conditioning, and too little.
No, you guys don't have AC. How do you live without AC?
No, not at all. It's horrendous. No, you just don't have it. You don't have it at all. So I teach 10 and 11-year-olds. So in a primary school, that's the top year before they go to high school. So the running joke is nobody comes near my room because my room will stink because they're going through puberty. So it's absolutely hideous. So when I go back to work next week, it will be warm and my classroom will stink again. So it's no one goes in the room. And if you're teaching like physical education, no one goes in because the stench will be unreal.
Oh my! I wonder why. Yeah, because I've talked to quite a few people from the UK, and they'll talk about how they're so hot, and I'm like, but you're in your house. Don't you just turn on the AC?
No, don't have AC. Not at all. No AC. When I went to Florida when I was a teenager, that was a family holiday. We'd stayed in it was a rental home, and that was the big novelty, having air conditioning. We're just not used to it. So in the summer, it's just like a sauna.
Laura,
our house is horrendous.
You should look to see if you can order. It's called Arctic Air. It's literally like this big. And you put a filter or like run the filter through water, freeze it, and then add ice cubes to the top. I have one for my bedroom. It works amazing.
That would be amazing. It's just the upstairs in our house, because the sun hits the front of my house all afternoon. By the time you go to bed, it's awful. It's just
I couldn't do that. I remember because when we were living, we stayed in England for a while, and what we did was we had to go very cheap, and so God, I forgot what city we were in. I've been told by many people from the UK that we stayed in like a really shitty city, but of course I didn't know that because I'm an American. I was just like, where's the cheapest hotel? And I completely forgot what it was called now, which sucks, but we lived in a pub. We lived like upstairs inside of a pub.
Yeah, so it would stink, and then it's going to be hot,
It was really hot and really smelly every day, and it was so funny. And I was like, "Where's the AC?"
Yeah. You open the window and that's it, and then you got all the noise of the street when everyone comes out the pub. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was quite the
You
experience.
really had a poor experience.
Well, also the funny thing too was I was 19 the first time that we went to England, and we were living in this pub. And okay, Americans, we are not allowed in bars until we are 21. And I was 19, and I was inside, and everybody was drinking. And the lady offered me a drink, and I was like, "I'm not. Oh yeah, I can drink." It was so awesome.
It's the difference in the culture, because I remember being 16, going to Florida. We were in one of the Disney resorts. My parents had gone to the bar. I think wherever my parents had gone, my mum had given me her drink to hold, and the staff member was so angry when. And I was like, I didn't understand, because I was literally just holding the drinks when my mum came back, and she was like, "He's not allowed to hold it. She's underage." And whereas in the UK, that's just not the culture at all. You're allowed in a bar at that age. You just can't drink. You can be in there with your parents. It's not a problem. It's just so completely different.
And if you take your kid with you to like what they call a bar and grill, like it's usually like a restaurant with a bar attached. And if you take your kid and you're walking to the actual bar, if your kid's with you, they will yell at you. Yep. Like, unless like it's one of those locals that you go to all the time, where they're like, fuck it, it's your kid, whatever. But I've had some people just blast me for having my kid standing next to me when, I'm sorry, I'm not leaving my kid 10 tables away so they could get kidnapped, because that is a popular thing to happen.
Yep. No, it was crazy. I completely forgot, because that like in the UK that you could drink at 19. And I went a little crazy. I was like, "You mean I can get beer?" Oh my gosh! Yeah. And I drank a lot.
Yeah, the culture is so different. I think that's why people, teenagers here drink much earlier than the actual legal age, because you do, don't you? It's just what happens. It's part of the culture. But you need to find out, Alex, where you stayed.
I need to find out, and I really want to tell you. I really want to tell, like, the city that we stayed in. Oh my gosh.
Was it the south? Did you say in the south of England? Central? It's just there. We need to find out where.
I do. I need to find out where, because okay, so I know this doesn't help at all because England is small, and so but we were about 45 minutes away from London. But that doesn't help because a lot of places are 45 minutes away from London. Whereas here, if you said 45 minutes away from Denver, I would know exactly like the certain places where you would be, because to get across Colorado takes like 10 hours. Whereas to get across England does not take 10 hours.
London's different in itself. It's a pain in the arse to get across because it's so big and it's so congested. So you still you would still be in what I would class as being in the south. But where you could be is anywhere.
And we went all over too, because we got lost, super lost. We were like, we're going to be cool and we're going to not take taxis. We're going to figure out like how the tube works.
Oh.
Fuck. And then we go look at this map and it's like 500 squiggly lines. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, no. The tube is quite a scary experience the first time you tackle it, because it's so bloody fast.
It is.
And then London's not friendly at all. No one speaks to you in London.
No.
Because I'm from the north, and the north is so completely different. It's a different culture altogether. I'm just trying to think. Find out where you are for next week. Let me know.
I will let you know, or I'll find out and I'll message in the chat and be like, Laura, I stayed here. Because one of my friends told me where we were, because I was looking at the map and I was like showing them like which hotel we stayed in, because I didn't even know what city we were in. I am disorganized in all of life. All I did
stayed in a pub. Oh my God! It's just
we lived in a pub because it was the cheapest place possible.
It would have been grim.
And we slept in bunk beds in a pub. Like, it was so funny. And
Oh my word.
Yes, and I was shocked too because I thought all the things Americans think we're so funny, but I thought I really wanted to go. We went to a lot of different countries throughout Europe, and I really wanted to try like really traditional food in all these countries, and I realized that like the traditional food in England is like Indian food. Because every single place on every single street it was just Indian food, and I was like,
Yeah, it is. And then, if I travel into Liverpool, we've got like this, we've got a massive Chinese, there's a massive Chinese centre right in the middle of our city centre. And it's, I think depending on whatever city that you're in as well,
definitely.
London is massively multicultural, so that's embraced massively.
Which is
So
wonderful. I love Indian food. It's amazing. And I had a really
it is
lovely,
everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, depending on
yeah,
where you are as well.
it
That's
was
hilarious.
everywhere. And we would travel, like we traveled for like a few hours and got lost on the tube, but we were trying to get to London. We did not get to London. We got to like 7 other cities, but we did not get to London until the next day. Um, and everywhere I went, it was either a traditional English breakfast, which I swear
Yeah.
is just for tourists, or because it was like the traditional English breakfast, but I never actually like it wasn't something that I saw the locals eating a lot of. It was very much like the American tourist that came there would order the traditional English
Yeah.
breakfast.
Or the continental breakfast,
Yeah,
which is like, yeah, that's it. They will be your two choices.
yeah, or Indian food, which was
Oh my
amazing.
word.
Like I loved the food there. It was really good, but I was confused.
Oh my word.
It was I mean, okay, I was 19 and I remember, so I was a young naive American. I hadn't traveled yet. I didn't really know what I was doing.
Oh
And
bless.
I guess we went during this really big football tournament. And so the
Oh
pub that we were living in just had like all these huge football fans like saturating the entire
yeah,
pub.
and it's if you've turned up during a tournament as well, it's completely the whole country it's just insane.
It's
It would have
crazy.
been insane. Yeah. Oh my word.
It was so funny. We went into the Gatwick airport, and when we got there, our taxi driver, and I felt so bad because I don't know what it was, but I could not understand him. I couldn't I couldn't understand anything that he said, and he kept asking me questions, and I was like,
Yeah,
what?
it's because the accent will have been very typical London, and that's why, because it's they have all of their own slang and different ways of speaking, and that's what you've had to try and pick up on. Plus, you've just flown for God knows how many hours, and yeah.
It was really funny, and then I felt really bad and really American because I was trying so hard not to be a tourist because I hate American tourists. We suck so much, and I was trying so hard not to be that, and then I couldn't understand the fucking taxi
Oh my word.
driver.
You've had fun. You've had fun. Find out where you stayed, and
I
then
will.
I'll have an idea. I can't believe you come over during a tournament and stayed in a pub. It's like the worst possible combination ever.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was really exciting though. I had a lot of fun. I was
it
drunk
would
for
have
most
been,
of
because
it.
it would have been
Yeah.
really lively, but
Plus, I
probably.
was up all night, not just because I am up all night typically, but because of time zones and jet lag. I was just up all night because it was supposed to be 6 p.m. and it was like 3 in the morning.
Oh my crackers. Right, ladies, I'm gonna have to make a move.
Yes. So yeah, that is I want for like homework or whatever, next time I'm going to ask you what you did this week to cleanse your deck. So do something different that you've never done before to cleanse your deck.
Will do.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And Alex, we need to still schedule my test.
Yes. Let me know when you're free. I'll message you today. I also have to answer your message. I love you. I promise.
I don't think you do.
I will answer your message and then we can schedule a date. I'm a lot more free and available now with my new schedule at work, so we can schedule something.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay.
You guys have a great day. I always love our classes.
It was really good fun. Right, ladies, take care. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a great week.